I grew up around a, family-style dinner. We always sit around the table.
Chef Doug Walls on Thanksgiving.
For a lot of families now, I think this is one of the only times they really get to sit around the table. And we're missing that here in this country. We need more of that. And I do think there's a reason why people like that so much.
We gotta open up and love enough to show that we are more than meets the eye.
Chef Walls is our guest on this episode of GPS, God People Stories. I'm Jim Kirkland.
And I'm Phil Fleischman. Doug is thankful that neither his rebellion, addiction, broken marriage, physical pain, nor even network television kept God from working in his life.
There might be cracks in these pots of clay, but the light you can't ignore. And it's hard to hesitate when you know you are made for more. We gotta shine.
GPS. God People Stories.
Doug Walls is the executive chef at the Billy Graham Training Center at The Cove. The Cove is a Christian retreat center just outside Asheville, North Carolina. There, the guests enjoy solid Bible teaching, spectacular mountain views, and delicious food.
Yeah, and those meals are prepared by Doug, but back when he was a teenager, Doug wasn't cooking food, he was cooking up trouble.
We lived in Asheville at the time when I was going through my rebellious stage, and then my brother as well went through a rebellious stage before he went to the military, and all the money that my dad spent, my parents spent towards both of us, like treatment and legal fees and whatnot, he decided to quit stockbroking and bought a property up in Madison County for kids whose parents are wasting their money on treatment that doesn't work. It was going to be like it was, and they've moved to Asheville and started a new ministry, but the ministry is New Direction Ministries, which was kind of based on me and my brother.
While the ministry was a career change for Doug's dad, it wasn't as much of a change for his mom, who was and still is a licensed Christian counselor.
When I moved up there to the farm with them, they took me pretty much out of civilization, way up in Madison County, like 3,400 feet up. That was a 150-acre farm at that time he got. So, it's a lot of time by myself in a four-wheeler. That's all I really had.
Then one Mother's Day, when Doug was in his 20s, he went to his mom and told her that he wanted to change, that he was ready to let God have control of his life.
I know that she's the one that's always been praying for me and watching over me and, just keeping that spiritual protection over me, which I'm blessed to have from her. She had a lot of patience.
I wanna be different. I wanna be changed till all of me is gone, and all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world can see that there's something different. So come and be different in me.
Doug decided to go to culinary school, and in 2011, he joined the kitchen staff of The Cove as a sous chef. That was March 1st, the very same day his first wife walked out on him.
Now I'm happily married, but the marriage I was going through there was tons of rough patches. It wasn't working on both sides, unfortunately.
In addition to dealing with his wife leaving him and starting a new job, Doug was about to face another challenge. He broke his ankle 2 weeks later. What was Doug's response?
Oh, anger and misery and, just stuck. I couldn't put pressure on my ankle nut for like 2.5 months. And I had a 2-story home, and I refused to stay in the living room. I wanted to stay in my bedroom, which was upstairs. So I had to crawl up the steps, scoot down the stairs. And my best friend, who's been with me since I've known him since child, he actually moved in with me. And he would make me food and breakfast, lunch, and dinner and kind of take care of me. But, he could testify that he could hear me at night screaming, yelling. I knew that I was talking to God. I knew God was in control and was part of all this. But I just didn't know when that day was going to come, when that the pain was going to stop.
And he's not just talking about the physical pain associated with his ankle.
It hurts a lot, especially when your heart's broken. But then also if you have like your foot, you're used to mobilizing. And, I used to be a fast runner. I can't run anymore. When you're in that situation, you're a chef. You know, you're supposed to be on your feet. And this is one of the jobs that you've always wanted. It's heartbroken for sure.
The heartbreak eventually began to heal. Doug was promoted to executive chef at the Cove, and he remarried. He describes life with his wife, Jamie, as amazing.
We have 2 beautiful children. Jamie actually used to work here at the Cove. We own a home now. I actually lost the home that I had. That's from my first marriage. And I never thought, just regarding credit reasons. And in my head, I never thought I was going to have another home. We're blessed now to have a home. It's amazing. God has restored that part of my life, the relationship, and it's beauty. I mean, it's beauty. I've always wanted a family. I've always wanted kids. Marriages aren't supposed to be broken, but now I've been restored and have a beautiful marriage that will never be broken.
Something that can break a marriage is pornography, and Doug says that's something he struggled with for 20 years. And the first person he talked to about his addiction, his wife. Doug believes pornography is something that's crippling the country.
My main focus is men, but I know it's on both sides. I know there's a few people in Hollywood now that are speaking against it, which is great to see. It really is, because, it's destroying anybody. It really is. But my main concern is, I couldn't even imagine myself growing up as a young boy with the technology we have now, and what I can get my hands on would be unimaginable. So I wonder sometimes, or actually a lot, what's going on in people's heads and what are they looking at, because I know what it's like in the darkness. It's not pretty, especially once you're in light. You can, look back, but I just wonder now, especially with these cell phones and computers and just whatnot's out there. It's scary. It really is.
Doug says he wants to wake up those men who are living in the fantasy worlds of porn and gaming and laziness.
Earlier this year, Doug appeared on a program on the Food Network, and that's begun to bring him some national recognition. But he says he's content serving as executive chef at the Billy Graham Training Center at the Cove in North Carolina. Guests go there to be fed spiritually by some of the world's best-known Bible teachers, but they get fed physically by Doug and his staff.
I like feeding people very well at the Cove. Every day when I leave shift, I go out and get a cup of coffee near the lobby. And I love, people walking up and, saying, thank you so much, where I have gained 5 to 10 pounds.
Good food and shared meals are important parts of Doug's history. He says when he was growing up, Thanksgiving was special for other reasons, but not just because it brought the family together around the table. They did that a lot.
I grew up around a family-style dinner. We always sit around the table. And I think for a lot of families now, I think this is one of the only times they really get to sit around the table. And we're missing that here in this country. We need more of that. And I do think there's a reason why people like that so much. They feel very thankful to have everybody around. One of the past memories I have is everybody going around and saying thanks. I do think food has a big part, but I do think it's that bond that brings us together, the food that does bring us together.
We gotta open up and love enough to show that we are more than meets the eye.
Whether you have a lot or a little, whether you have a big family or no family, there is something you can be thankful for this year, and that's the gift of a personal relationship with God. His Son, Jesus Christ, died on a cross to take the punishment for your sins. Now it's up to you to accept His gift of forgiveness, to surrender your life to Him. When you do, God comes to live in your heart. We can tell you more at this website, findpeacewithgod.net. That's findpeacewithgod.net.
Well, our guest today on GPS is an executive chef. What would you think his favorite Thanksgiving dish is? He'll tell us in just a minute.
You're listening to GPS, God, People, Stories, a production of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association.
It was George Washington who made the observance of Thanksgiving official in America. It seems to me that this would be a good time to take moral and spiritual inventory.
Billy Graham.
There's a growing evidence on every hand that we're losing the art of praise and gratitude to God in America. We're beginning to take our blessings for granted. However, instead of counting our wealth, our pleasures, and our gadgets, we should give pause to count our blessings from God. The scriptures teach that all good things of life come from God. At this Thanksgiving season, there should be a renewed dedication to Him because of a new, full commitment to Christ. This is the season of the year to offer unto God thanksgiving The best way to do that is to give him your life and live a life that spells out genuine gratitude from day to day. Give him your life today. Surrender your heart, will, and mind to Jesus Christ. Let him renovate your life and follow him as a disciple of Jesus Christ.
And now back to the hosts of GPS, Jim Kirkland and Phil Fleischman.
The Billy Graham Evangelistic Association is continuing to minister to people through the Thanksgiving holiday. For example, chaplains from the Billy Graham Rapid Response Team are ministering to victims of Hurricane Matthew in eastern North Carolina. And online coaches from our Internet Evangelism Outreach will be chatting and emailing with people who are looking for answers about God.
And if you would find yourself in that category, looking for answers about God, know that they can help you. Just go to findpeacewithgod.net. And if you're not looking for answers, would you pray for these ministries and the people they are serving?
So, Jim, Thanksgiving, do you have a favorite dish?
See, the problem is you put an A in there, a favorite Thanksgiving dish. They are all favorite Thanksgiving dishes. I would do well to have one that was not a favorite.
Isn't that the truth? I'm in the same boat. We asked our guest, though, Chef Doug Walls, what his favorite Thanksgiving dish is.
Oh, it's got to be prime rib. Yeah. Prime rib, ham, blue cheese bread pudding. Now, this year, we have a whipped cauliflower instead of your traditional mashed potatoes, but no cream, no butter, just olive oil. So it's good.
Yes, it is. Before we wander off to the kitchen, we're thankful for Chef Doug Walls for sharing his story. And we're also thankful for you for listening and for the opportunity to share the message of Christ with a hurting world. We have been at this for just over a year, and we are so thankful to have this opportunity. Thankful for you, and we'd also love to hear from you. This is GPS, God, People, Stories. I'm Jim Kirkland.
And I'm Phil Fleischman. As Jim said, thank you for listening. GPS is an outreach of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. Always good news.
The next stop is the mountaintop.